Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the stream today. Before we dive in, go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe on the platform that you're watching this on right now. Your support helps me keep doing what I love, creating content that inspires, teaches, and entertains. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you never miss when I go live. Let's get into it and have some fun. All right, everyone. Welcome. And usually, I am streaming on Sundays, but you know what? I was like, no, this is not going to happen because we forgot one very special person because of technical difficulties, and that is okay. We are going to be okay with that. I had to do a lot of switching things over uh, to make sure everything was all right, but it's a great way to either end your week or start your week. I know some educators are going on their holiday break. But again, this is our final, I'm not even going to call it a reschedule or whatever. This is just it for our for the rewind. It's just what it is. And I am super excited to have this person on it. And I'm glad that YouTube one showed up because that's why I have my timers to check all of my edits. That's what y'all don't know behind the scenes is I make sure everything is going on. So I know some of you are like, well, why are we just started? I'm making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. But I am so excited for this person to be on. And we're going to be talking about education consulting. People are like, well, what does that have to do with gaming or education? It's very important because we're talking about this specifically in the for ed tech, gaming, and education, and for people who help schools and organizations design and implement meaningful programs. And for those of you who obviously know, I'm on this journey myself, and this person has really helped me in getting this started. And I've supported many teachers in districts in bringing curriculum and technology to life. But what does that look like when the work centers on esports and gaming? And tonight's guest is someone who has been doing that work consistently and has made real impact. Julie Mavrogeorge is one of the few educators who truly sits with teachers and administrators and leaders and guides them through using games with confidence. She's an experienced consultant and instructional coach who helps teachers, districts, and organizations build game based learning experiences that are both engaging and standards aligned. Let me say it again, standards aligned. uh, she knows how to take the excitement students already bring to games and turn it into digital literacy, problem solving, and meaningful instructional moments. And like me, she's worked across schools, districts, and the corporate space, giving her a unique perspective on how to tailor gaming curriculum to the needs of educators. And what I really love about Julie is how practical and grounded her approach is. She understands the realities that teachers and educators face, the constraints that they work under, and the creative ways games can open doors for people who may not connect with traditional instruction. Whether it's esports, game design, or classroom integration, Julie focuses on helping educators build learning experiences that feel purposeful and not performative. So, this evening, tonight, we're diving into the game design mindset, what effective consulting looks like, and how educators and teachers can create game based experiences that are fun and effective and aligned to what students actually need. So I'm excited to have finally I'm so excited to have Miss Julie Mabry George on the Good Game Rewind. Yay and welcome.
Thanks, Bradford. Yeah, this has been a long time coming, and I'm
Yes,
just
it
really happy to
has.
be here. So thanks
Yes,
for having me.
I'm so super duper excited. And of course, you know my journey. I just touched and talked about my journey, but I before we dig into the questions, how
Okay.
did you get started into this space? I touched on it a little bit, but how did you get started doing what you're doing?
Well, my background, honestly, is like for years and years, I was a sports coach. I coached
Oh
volleyball,
wow.
basketball, and softball. And then I also mentored and led a lot of, I want to say, transformational type groups for women, where I was helping them kind of determine and figure out who they are and what they wanted to do in life. I ended up going to a tech hub here locally in Fresno where they taught me how to code, and I became a project manager for a nonprofit because of that, in the tech industry, where we were helping impoverished communities around the Central Valley build robotics and coding programs. So a lot of STEAM and STEM, mostly STEM activities at the time.
Mhm.
And our local district reached out and said, "Hey, we have a position open." Essentially, they wanted to create a STEAM team,
Okay. Okay.
and I was one of the people that was selected to help build this STEAM team. And long story short, had the crazy and amazing opportunity to meet Stephen Reed, who is a gentleman who created the Minecraft esports, the original Minecraft esports worlds. And
Hmm.
he and I collaborated, and within about, I would say, 6 weeks of meeting him, I launched the first district-wide Minecraft esports elementary district-wide league in the U.S. with his assistance.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
I work
totally
with the
forgot
district.
about that.
Yeah, and, there was another district in Africa that was a few months ahead of us, and we kinda just built the program together, and then we started Fuel in 2018. I joined that team in 2019. Fuel stands for Fresno Unified Esports League,
Hmm.
and, helped build that, and predominantly a lot of the broadcasting, shoutcasting, streaming, the network, um, the kids setting up the LAN, tournaments and all of that. And then a position in CTE opened. I moved over into CTE, and I was a part of IT. And if I go back a little bit, when I was at the coding hub, I taught coding for 3.5 years, after I learned. So I was teaching kids, I mean, kids and adults anywhere between the ages of like 10 and 80, to be honest. Um,
Wow.
so I never taught in a in the district, but I taught outside, of the district. And then when I was in CTE, I had the amazing opportunity to work with a lot of the arts, media, and entertainment. That was my pathway, that I was assigned to, and
Mhm.
worked with them to create curriculum that fit what they were already teaching. So they didn't have to change what they were teaching. They only had to give it an esports spin to it,
Mhm.
and they loved it. And then I worked with some partners as well to help develop, just an ecosystem within Fresno Unified for esports, content and curriculum, and if they wanted to play online, connected them with those resources, and built, helped continue working with the STEAM team at the time. And then just decided that I kind of wanted to do this on my own. It's working within a large system. My district was about 70,000 students. So in California, it's the third largest, behind San Diego and LA, which LA is number two, and San Diego, I believe, is number seven or eight in the nation. So we have some
Mhm.
large districts here in California, and there's a lot of politics that are involved with those. And I wanted to help more people, teachers, educators. Those could also be CTE coordinators, they could be instructional coaches, ed tech, related teachers and professionals within a district, and just wanted to help them leverage all the tools that I had gained and learned through, um, the game-based learning that I help implement in the district, and whatnot, and then also esports in particular.
Mhm.
Um, and just wanted to help other people do that. And I've been able to create a career out of working with partners to be able to help districts create those STEAM teams and those game-based learnings and fun educational content for kids, over the last about 2 years now. So that's
That
kind of
is
the journey.
that is so amazing, and it's no wonder that you are part of like Game Hers and all those things because of
Yeah.
so many of the outside things that you have done and learn, and you're bringing that back to the
Right.
district. And um from that consulting standpoint, I mean, I my journey kind of mirrors yours, but it's so interesting that we to be in that consulting space, you kind of have to almost get that experience. You don't have to. I'm not saying it's required, but like
Right.
it's almost like you have to step out and then step in and then step out to get like both perspectives. Because I really, for me, and I don't know about for you, I really had to learn like, okay, here's what it's like if you're trying to from the that quote corporate side or whatever, but then bring
Yeah.
it back to the district side because you need to be able to speak that district language, and then
Right.
vice versa. Like both, like I found myself always being that middle person, whether it was in the district or
Yep.
whether it was
Yep.
outside. Because
Yeah.
what people don't understand or do may understand is like they need that middle person to help speak that language, because there's such a
Yeah.
it's so siloed. And I don't say that in a bad
Yes.
way. I don't say that as a bad thing. It's that there's that gap, and there was that period of the whole that ed tech, that ed tech surge where we need those teachers in this spot because we are not hitting where we need to hit. And I'm saying that very loosely, but I
Hmm.
found some empowerment in that. I found some learning edges in that, some good
Yeah.
things and some not so good things. And
Right.
so it's great to hear that from your teaching experience, from your tech experience, you felt that, okay, now I'm really ready to step out and just say, hey, I want to do this on my own. And I want to expand on that before I get into the question, like, what really made you
Okay.
say, like, I'm ready to just be Julie and just say, I'm going to do this?
There you are. So I needed some help. I needed some uh I would say mentors and friends, colleagues that I spoke with. Um and there were 6 altogether that within a span of about 10 days that all said, why are you doing this for other people? You can do this yourself. You need to go do it." And I'll be honest, the last conversation was at ISTE in 2024.
Okay.
No, is that right? Yeah, 2024, in ISTE. And Lila Bullman, she's the one I will name for certain. Lila Bullman sat me down for about an hour and just said, "Julie, you are you are an expert. You need to believe that. You need to know that what is in your brain, the content that you have in your brain is worth something." And part of it, she and I have gotten to become good friends over the years, but she is very direct, and I love that about her. And she's just like, "Look, you can do this." And she was the sixth of the 6 people. And it just was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. If people who I respect and partners that I work with believe in me that much, then who am I, to kind of like say, no, you don't know what you're talking about, right? These are people that and especially Lila, because we met very early on because of Stephen Reed, I mentioned, right? And so she had seen me develop all of the tools that I did with Minecraft, because I worked along with her and her team, to be able to create that. And so it wasn't I won't say it was my decision. I needed a push. I needed people that I respected, mentors, right? To be able to say, "Hey, you can do this." And I didn't really know how I was going to go about doing it, right? Um, but like I've shared with you in the past, I think that it's just you have to take a chance on yourself, and trust that, and believe. I'm not going to say trust. You have to believe in yourself that what other people see in you is true. And that's hard, I think, for a
Mm,
lot of people. But for
it's very
myself, I'm
hard.
very, very critical of myself, and really just didn't believe in me, right? And so, I took that step, and I'll be honest, it has been the most enjoyable 2 years of my life. Or
Wow.
it has, or not quite even 2 years, about 19 months now, I guess. My schedule is my own. I am making decent money. Have, I can work remotely. So, I have a granddaughter now. I'm able to go be with her and work and have time with her. Um, I have even more partners that I've connected with. When I left the district, it was about 45 to 50. Now it's a little over 80, that so that when, districts need something, it's like I can I can connect them with the exact thing that they need, right? Without having attachments to any one organization or whatnot, right? Like I can truly fill in that gap of, hey, here's what I believe after listening to you and figuring out what your student outcomes and your program goals are. Here's what I think are the best solutions for you, and an approach of how to get there. Whether that's in class, after class, a combination, right? Whatever it looks like. And I'm just I it's I'm the happiest I think I've been in a very, very long time. So
It's so funny when you say that,
yeah,
Layla was yours, Jarrell Batak is mine.
there you are.
uh,
Amazing man.
it,
Amazing
it,
man.
he's doing some amazing stuff that's out of his own. But we've had some several like come to Jesus conversations, and
Oh yeah.
he's had some with me, and he's always in my
Mhm.
head. And one of the things that he's told me is like, don't ever let someone take away your power. And I was like,
Yeah.
and that is he's that's always been in my head, and I know Jerome will be listening to this at some point. But
Yeah.
like the conversation that he had, like pretty much was the same with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like the stuff that I was doing, he was like, "You're doing this. My language. You're doing the most. You need to be bringing that out there. Like
Yep.
I'm bringing you on to these platforms because of what you're doing. You got to believe in
Yeah.
yourself." I'm just like, but
Yeah.
I want to stick to
Yep.
this. And it is very hard. I don't know we're supposed to be talking about all the other stuff, but like I do want to
Yeah.
put that out there. It's so funny. And I also want to put out there like my friend Dr. Akila Willery. She's one that I also
Mm.
lean on and support learning the
Yeah.
business side. And just you guys, the stepping out on your own is not for the faint of heart. And you've been in it for 2 years. I'm really just I'll say a newborn into this, and I'm really just learning and what the financial risk are and all those kind of
Right.
things. I mean, I'm not Scrooge McDuck making a whole bunch of money or anything like that,
Nope. Nope,
but
not at all.
what I am learning is about my happiness and what this I'm gonna call it what this for me. I'm not putting words into your mouth, but what this ministry is. Because
Yes. Yep.
it's a ministry.
Yep.
And like I told you before, if something comes along, then it comes along, and then I get the power to assess: does this fit me?
Yep.
Does it fit my personal rubric? And so I
Yep.
think that's the power of being in this consulting space, not to be like the big head and have that, oh, I get to do whatever I want to do and I'm going to sit in my ivory tower. It's about learning what your vision and mission are and how you can move
Yeah.
forward and how you connect people with others, because we were doing
Yeah.
that in the district. We were doing
Yes.
that in
Yep.
all these other spaces. We were just doing it in such a small section,
Right.
and we
Right.
didn't realize the power that we had
Right.
spreading that out nationwide or statewide or community wide, local wide. We just didn't
Right.
know. But now we know because we
Right.
have people that can push us and they are
Right.
honest.
Right. Yeah. And being able to push other people too, right? Like that's something else that I've like you said, as a ministry, right? As the given the talents that we've been given and the voice and the opportunity to speak, right? That we've given, that, not taking that for granted and staying grassroots and really trying, to help. I mean, really help, serve other people. Not, it's not, my husband, he's like, don't say it's not about the money, but it's not about the money. It's about helping educators and students find their passion, right? For me,
Right.
that's what it is. And also having that, for me, it's a mission statement, right? Or North
Hmm.
Star, right? That says, okay, I have a statement that I run everything through. And if it doesn't fit within that, nope, I'm gonna pass on that one.
Mm.
And those are important things, I think, when you talk about consulting or going out on your own, right? You have to have mentors and people that are going to speak the truth and the hard truth in difficult, sometimes hard ways and times, right? But also having that North Star, that mission, and that vision that you are able to um, yeah, make as a litmus test for everything that comes your way, right? And
Yeah.
I know Jarrell well, and he does, right? I mean, knowing his journey over the last, year and a half too, as well. Like he's living that, straight up living that, and where he's being able to go, and the things that he's able to do, right, are also an inspiration. And um you know although we're all three of us are similar in what we're trying to do, right, our fields, I think, are different, right,
Yeah,
and where it's going, and so we also complement each other, right.
absolutely.
And that's what I think is amazing about the community that we have within esports and gaming as a
Yeah.
whole.
And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, Julia, it is about the money, but I don't want to be guided by that. Cause
Yes,
I
yes.
used to be guided by that, like, okay, I want to be the baller, shot caller. And there's parts of Bradford that still wants to be that. Let me be honest. But I don't now what I'm learning is I don't want to be guided by that. Like
Right,
I want to
right,
does this fit where I want to be? I just turned 47 and I'm looking at things a lot
right,
differently versus when I
right.
first got into this new space. I'm not saying esports space, but like what this new space is, or whatever, however we want to
Got it.
define it. And yeah, we can
Right.
go on that part
Yeah,
forever,
yeah,
forever,
yeah.
forever.
Sure we can.
I want to get into how you are helping and coaching teachers in the space and how you
You got
help
it.
them uh coaching teachers design game based and esports lessons.
Yeah.
How do you help educators translate gameplay into meaningful learning experiences? What is it that you do?
Well, so first of all, it's helping educators understand that, there's anywhere between the data varies, but anywhere between like 86 and 98% of kids play video games, right? Uh, and that also includes phone games, right?
Mhm.
If on the higher percentages, and about 70 to 75% play daily, right? So if students are engaged in this activity, right,
Mhm.
I believe that we have an opportunity, and I would say, an obligation almost, to meet them where they are, right? I'm going to go back, like, post COVID, right? The kids during COVID, the world changed. Kids changed. And that, it's going to take another, well, depending on what grade levels you are, right? If you're, a younger grade level teacher at this point, like K through third, you know, we're through that, right? K through four, we're
Mm.
through that. You have now a new,
Crop of kids.
I'm going to say, right, a new crop of kids. Yes, but their parents still went through COVID, right? As well, and so there's just so much that changed during that. And in California, we were locked down forever, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
you
it was
were.
2 years, yeah. Um, and so I say all that because kids were disengaged. Part of the reason I started the Minecraft Education Esports League was because I had teachers coming to me saying, Julie, what do you how friends that were teachers as well. I mean, like personal friends, saying, I my kids won't turn their cameras on. I can't get them to talk. I don't even know if they're there. Like, how can I engage them? And I'm like, have you tried Minecraft? Because not just even esports, but Minecraft as a whole in our district, it was available to everybody. All we had a Microsoft license that made it free for
Mhm.
everybody to use. I'm like, try a lesson in Minecraft, right? Try English, try a social emotional, try math, try science. I mean, just about anything you want to teach, right? You can teach with Minecraft. And what they saw within a matter of 2 to 3 weeks, where kids were coming to their class, right? One teacher in particular that teaches at a school that it's fifth through eighth, and they run it more like a middle school. Even the fifth and sixth graders run it as a middle school, which is unusual for California or for the Fresno County area.
Okay, okay.
Um, and so the kids were now coming to school. They were engaging, they were participating, and and then I meet Steven. I'm like, well, then let's try esports, right? And let's try some game-based learning, right? And help them formulate lessons, right? Like, just simple, like, well, okay, if you're doing math like this, right, then just do it in Minecraft. Like, if you're doing fractions, do fractions in Minecraft. Like, just use blocks of color of wool or whatever and do your fractions that way.
And this
And
was
now
before ED, or was this regular Minecraft, or
this is regular. No, this was Minecraft EDU. Yeah,
okay,
this
okay,
was
okay,
in 20, what, right, like during COVID, which was
okay.
what, 2020, right? Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
March of 2020. Holy moly. Anyway, so long story short, they ended up really loving it. And so then I would start throwing it out to more and more teachers. And how I do it now is very similar to how I did it then, right? Like, so what I tell teachers is when you have a student and they don't understand a math problem, a science, it's not clicking. Ask them what game they're into. And I
Hey.
guarantee you that because it's their language, if you can relate it to a game they're playing, velocity, speed, relate it maybe to Mario Kart or Rocket League, or like I mentioned, fractions or something. If you put it in to and connect it to a game, now it's not just auditory, it's also visual, and visual in an engaging platform that they are already connected with, right? And even
Mhm,
if the
mhm,
kids are not Minecraft players, it's still a game,
mhm,
right? So, if Minecraft isn't their game, it's still a game and it's still an engaging platform. So
mhm.
they would their interaction with it is going to be heightened as opposed to just a paper and pen, right?
Well,
Um,
what if the teacher is not that game type of a person? What do they do in that situation?
So I tell them, let the kids teach you. I guarantee you, I promise you,
Mm,
100%. There is at least one student in your class that has played Minecraft or plays Mario Kart or plays, right. Ask them to show you, right. And it's a bit of a shift, especially for a teacher that's never played video games, right, because you are not the expert. And
right.
teachers, we have a mindset of, well, I have to have all the lesson plans, I have to have all the knowledge, and I have to impart it. It's a shift, right? No, you don't. You can let students teach you and help you to teach them, right? And it engages them more because now you're taking your class and you're empowering them to teach each other or to
Mm,
and teach you, right?
mhm,
And so for some teachers, I'll be honest, it's almost too difficult. It's just that they've been teaching for 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, and this is the way I do it, and it doesn't work for them. Okay, but for the majority of the teachers that I have helped, they jump in on it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're not kidding." I mean, grades go up, attendance goes up, behavior issues go down. The thing that I love most about esports and game-based learning is that now you attract a lot more of I want to say you have less issues with the neurodivergent population,
mhm.
right? Kids with ADD, ADHD, autism, the kids that, back when my kids were in school were the ones that were assigned a TA and were sat in the corner,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, well, now because screens are safe for them, right? They're not interacting with a person, they're interacting with a screen. Now they're engaged as well. And honestly, they become the best teachers typically.
Mhm,
Because it's something they're so familiar with, and they are like, no, 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 Miss Mavrogeorge, this you do it like this. Let me show you. And then you could say, okay, well, how would I translate that to teach everybody in the class? Oh, well, I would do this, but da 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 da, right? And that's what I think over time when teachers try, and try something new, right? And then they see the transformation in individual students and in their class
mhm.
and class participation, engagement, all of that, it goes up exponentially, right?
Yeah.
I have yet to help a teacher who has not said that engagement has increased.
And
Um,
yeah, and as you were talking about that, for the teachers who may not be familiar with games, which is fine, I was just thinking like, that goes back to the genius hour. If for me,
mm,
if I was in that position, I would say, here's what I suggest you do. Look at your schedule in the month. Fridays are you in education, so Fridays are usually like either a test day or it's a dead day. Why don't you
yeah,
schedule a day and let the kids know, like, hey, I would love for you to showcase a game to the class. And just say, like, if it's science, we're talking about science. Don't make it too strenuous to where, like, oh my god, this is team too much. But like, if you don't know anything about Final Fantasy or Uncharted, that was the game that I was talking
yes.
about. It was Uncharted. I forget. Was that Skylar I was talking about? It was Uncharted,
Ah.
or just games that were appropriate. Like, I want you to showcase, you know, some gameplay, whether you shoutcast it, screenplay, whatever. Can you put that on a video? Put that into
Yes.
a Google Drive, and then I want you to just show us and explain it. And we're gonna
Yeah.
just have a fun day. And what that does for you as a teacher, you get to sit back and go, oh, and then you
Yep.
start asking questions because you also are the attendee too in the class. You're the student in the
Yes.
class, and you're letting students showcase. And even if they're kids that don't like, I really know. Okay, that's fine. You can do set assignment over here, or maybe there's something that you like in music, whatever it is. Like give them that
Yeah.
day to
Yep.
showcase something that they like to do. And what does that do for you as a teacher? Yes, you get to sit back, but you're also taking in their content, and you're going to
Yep.
figure out like, oh, okay, Julie likes Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So and so likes Beyonce. So and so likes this. Like you're taking all of this content and you're going to integrate it later on into something else. So maybe the topic was about math and they brought in something with math, but now you know that 30 of your kids know this. I can now go and research something about Mario Kart. I don't have to know the game. I can just go on YouTube and get,
Yep.
and we're not talking about scholar stuff yet or at
Right.
all,
Right.
but I could just go
Yeah.
on YouTube and just pull something and we can have some conversation about it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's a great step, Julie, and I love that, and that takes a lot of the fear out of, well, I don't know anything about games. You're putting the game stuff, that's on you guys. And we're just gonna keep it light on Friday. I don't
Yep.
feel like grading. I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah.
We're still learning. There's still an objective tied to it. So administrators, if you do
Yeah.
walk in, you're still gonna see some learning going on. But
Yeah.
now we have the students are now have the opportunity to collaborate and teach. Julie, I
Yeah.
love that. I
Well,
love
and
that.
and you touched on something else too that I failed to mention that is really important is that a lot of questions or pushback I'll get is like, well, I don't have those games installed, or my IT department won't this, or I don't have a Switch for Mario Kart. I'm like, you don't need it.
You know?
You have YouTube. You have YouTube. You can use YouTube to look and understand. Your kids can go home and like you just shared, they can go home and create lessons because they're playing those games at home, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
they can, just like you said, which most of them do anyway, film themselves do it playing their game or commentating on it, or they can grab their own YouTube clip, and put it in a Google Drive folder, right? And so i- where there is a lack of understanding, or I want to say a predisposition to the barriers, like focus on the barriers as opposed to focusing on like how can we do this. There's an answer, right? You don't have to know, you don't have to have all the games installed, or have the console. If you have access to it, great. Even if it's a PlayStation or Xbox that you yourself own, bring it into the classroom, right? and
Mhm, mhm.
and there are ways to be able to do game-based learning, without having to have the actual games.
And I agree. And let's start with what you already have. I don't think you need to go as big as you think you do. I mean, I think that's the
No.
biggest misconception. Like,
Yes.
I just have to have this big. I talked about this week. This big arena, this big arcade, this big. No, if
Yep.
all you have is Google Drive and YouTube, let's start from there.
Yep.
I already know how to lesson plan. Let me put. You know what? I want to make the students work this week. Y'all do
Yep.
this.
Yep.
I'll add the objective, I'll add this, but I want you to do this. And I will give the scaffold alternative. So if Julie doesn't like the game, I'm going to give her something else to do so that she feels still included in that emerging tech type of a space.
Right.
I'll give her that. So that's really awesome. And so how do teachers respond to when you're telling them all of this?
Most of them respond favorably. There are a few, again, and it's typically the teachers who have been teaching for many, many years, right? And they're kind of set in their ways
Mhm,
that will push back. And I mean, it's a fear, right? I mean, it's a fear that they're going to fail, or that they're going to not meet the, like you mentioned, standards, right? That they feel like they need to meet, whether that's you know uh, set on them by their principal, or just the district goals or test scores or whatnot. And I try to tell them, like, again, like you said, even if it's one day a week or once every other week that you start with, your students are going to be more excited about you and coming to school, if especially if they're
Yeah.
elementary kids, right? And high school students who are so many still tuned out, right, or not fully engaged. If whatever lesson you're teaching, whatever topic, subject that you're teaching, if you can allow them to do the research to find the game or find a way to articulate the lesson that you're teaching. Like again, I mentioned velocity, right?
Mhm.
So if you're teaching about velocity, to have them make an assignment for them to go within a video game that they know and they love, and come back and do a presentation on velocity on a video game that they already know, right? You're getting the concept across, and you're connecting it to something that they are connected to. But the pushback, it's very rare, I'll be
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
Most are willing. I mean, I guess because if they're gonna find me and they know that I'm an esports and game-based learning kinda consultant, right,
They're
like, then that's
ready.
that's my focus. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
ready.
It's usually if a district or curriculum person reaches out and goes, "Hey, I wanna do this for my school or my district."
Mhm.
It's usually in those situations where you have a teacher or 2 that are kinda like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that."
Gotcha.
But for the most part, that it's like the light bulb goes on, um, I always liken it to, so being an athlete growing up and having coached, my husband is a marriage and family therapist. Like, so
Mm.
we come from very different backgrounds, right? I very much kind of the jock, traditional jock, and he's much more on the emotional side. And early on when we started dating, I'll say my emotional intelligence was pretty low. Um,
Okay.
and he would always connect things that we were talking about to something in basketball or something in football or something in baseball, the and the light bulb would go on. "Oh, okay. I get it." It's the ninth inning, you're at bat, you've got 2 strikes on you, the pressure's there, whatever it is, right? It's the same concept, right? Kids know the game, they're excited about it, they're into it. If you want them to understand the
Mhm.
content that you're teaching, use what they already are
Use what they already
connected
know.
to. Yeah.
And even if you don't know, that's still the very part that's what we all do at the beginning of the year as educators, or in the middle of the
Yeah.
year. We want to take those interest surveys with students,
Yeah.
not getting their personal data, but we want to know what is it that you're interested in right now. What are some things that you're
Yep.
into, so I can bring that into the class because I want to revamp
Right.
some of my lessons so that there is a personal connection. You want to have those group discussions in class so you can hear like, okay, this is what Johnny, this is what Mary, this is what Sally is thinking. I'm going to mentally
Yeah.
have that in the back so that I can
Yeah.
do XYZ. I mean, I tell you, like, I part time teach, and one of the most
Mm.
amazing things, I teach some students in Greece, and
Oh, that's
what
awesome.
one of the students just lit up because she was telling me on the side that she had some things to go do for something, and she had to go horseback riding. And I said, okay, what? Okay, great. Just let me know. And then we were talking about, I didn't bring it into a lesson. Or I may have said something that connected it for like 2 seconds, but I said something about horseback. I said, yeah, you got a horseback riding. And she just lit up. She went, oh my God, you remembered. I'm like, of
Mhm.
course. Of course I
Yes.
remembered. Like, if you're gonna tell me
Yeah.
the activities that you're into, my goal is for me to try to remember it as much as I can and connect it to
Yeah.
whatever lessons I'm going to. And from that day on, like, the students just love coming to the
Right.
class, like, because y'all
Yeah.
in Greece. Okay, I teach at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh my gosh.
Okay. That's
And
early. Yep.
but in Greece, it's like 3 or 4. Their day is done, and
Yeah.
they've had so much information. So my job not only is to come in as the educator, teach lessons, but sometimes for me is to come in and say, "Hey," like how I'm talking to you guys right now, because they're so surprised. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Mr. Harris, what are you on?" I'm like, "Y'all, I just woke up. My energy is like this." They go,
Yes.
"Oh, that's why." And we had a deep discussion about time zones and all that kind of stuff. But I digress. Um,
Yeah.
but it's about
No.
really connecting with your educators and teachers to really understand how games can make that huge impact into the classroom, whether they're interested in it or not. There's still a connection there. Even old
Yeah.
school games, because even I will
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to educators like, you've played this or you've played it for maybe two
Right.
seconds. You can still bring that into the classroom. The fact that the kids know that you've even played a game, that
Yes.
opens up huge conversation. I don't care if it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like they know that you've played a Pac-Man or whatever. It doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
date
Yeah.
yourself like that. It doesn't matter. The fact that
Right.
they see you now as a kid with a controller, that
Yeah.
that closes a gap and they're ready to have
Yes.
those conversations with you. They're ready to say, "Okay, I want to know what that 10-year-old Bradford was like back then because I want to connect to that 10-year-old Bradford because I'm 10 years old."
Yeah.
So you can bring those things into the classroom, and it doesn't matter because at some point you had those connections, and you can even talk about, well, I play Candy Crush on my phone. Like, okay, this is what I mean. Don't sell yourself short, like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short. But
Yeah.
for educators who feel unsure about putting these games into the classroom, how are you supporting though? How are you supporting them if they feel they're new to gaming or they're nervous about even designing a gaming lesson? How do you go about doing that?
Um, uh, just like what we've been talking about, like, don't you don't have to create a lesson like a traditional lesson, right? Because students, you just mentioned Pac-Man, right? Um, have them do some research, like connect it to a game. Like some of the first games I played were Missile Command and Space Invaders, right? Adventure, like on an Atari. I'm dating myself now, right? What? What is that? What is adventure? Well, why don't you go research it, right? And
Mhm.
why don't you connect, you know, uh adventure to a game now, right? Like
Ooh.
and find this, so they're learning history of video games, they're learning, the styles of games, right? The different types of games. Like, I mean, MOBA didn't exist back in when I was playing Atari, right? The term, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
right, none of that. So first person shooters, those weren't that wasn't really the name right of a game, but having kids or a type of game, having them research it. But you also, right, like if you played Pac-Man or you played Donkey Kong, like, well, what has that evolved into now, right? What is it? What are the games, from the Sega Genesis or, the NES or whatever it is that whatever generation or titles that you were playing, like how do those connect to games today, right? Um, I think that's really, really important. But I'll also say, I know you had Skylar on this past week as well. Skylar is the owner and CEO of Game Class, which is a platform that allows teachers to create lessons.
Yep.
Using popular video games. So if you are not sure how to do a lesson, right? You can hop on to game class and find a lesson on just about any video game that exists on any topic, from conflict resolution to financial literacy to English to math to science, whatever, right? And those are there for you that other teachers have created that you can use. So that is an amazing resource. But just starting with where you are and where your kids are, right? Like, you don't need to be nervous. Like, you just have to, it's about engaging your kids. That is almost always the issue, is that the kids are not engaged, right? They're not coming
Yeah.
to school. So just if you give them an assignment around a game, they're going to be more interested. They just are, right? The majority. There are some kids out there who are not gamers, so to speak, but there's music in games. So have them do something with music, or there's drawing, right? Like there's the graphics of games. And a lot of girls, are might push back, especially in high school. Like, so have them, but a lot of them draw anime. Well, okay, so why don't you do some research on, some an anime character, or relate it to a game, or the music, like, there's so many opportunities. And I try to, each individual teacher has their own population of students, right? And so, in having those conversations, I like to personalize it, right? So, what are you good at? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your issues that you're having in your classroom? And how do we connect the two of those things, your strengths and the issues, right? So that the students then have positive outcomes from your class. And I'll go back to what you had mentioned before. I think the biggest thing is kids want a connection.
They
And if
do.
they're not
They
getting it at
do.
home, you can be that connection. Let them challenge you. Like if they're like,
Yeah.
Miss Mav, I play Skyrim. Okay, well, you know what? I've watched my son play Skyrim, but I've never played myself, so maybe I'm going to go play Skyrim so I can connect with that
Absolutely.
student.
Absolutely.
Um, and you'll be amazed at how the kids respond, right? They just need that connection with an adult in their life, right?
Yeah.
And gaming brings that. Esports brings that. In way and again, I'm going to go back to like a lot of the neurodivergent students who are don't know how to really maybe connect in a social norm way, right? If you start talking gaming or music or comic books or something nerdy, right? Like that we would call nerdy or geeky, most of the time they're going to have an attachment to something like that. Anything that has to do with audio or screen time. Um, and you'll see a huge difference in your relationship with your class and individual students.
That's amazing. And it's funny, you were talking, and I know I wasn't looking at you, but like I was gonna give a prime example of what you just said, and this is a thing for educators. So now I'm gonna bring AI into the mix with this.
Awesome. I love
So
it. Yes.
I literally just went on, like, I'm not sharing my screen or anything right now, but I literally just got God bless that Gemini tab that's up there. But I literally
Oh
just
yeah.
said as an example, I'm 47 years old and I played Pac-Man when I was young. What games relate to kids today with that now? I did this literally on the fly. Here's what it said. Yeah, it gave some Pac-Man games for that direct descendant part, but then it also said for that same vibe, Crossy Road. Then it said Among Us. Then it said
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Whole.io, which I don't know what that is. I've never played that. Then I said, okay, let's go a little bit deeper. Yes, it said Roblox, but we not talking about that right now. Uh,
Yeah.
it said Fall Guys. Then it
I was
said
just gonna say Fall Guys. Yeah.
the retro revival of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Gauntlet
Mm.
successor. Minecraft is in there
Ah.
as well.
Mm.
The Panic and Chaos co-op. Overcooked. All you can eat. Chris Avilas was talking about Overcooked.
Overcooked. Yeah, that's a great game.
Splatoon
Yeah.
3, the physics sport of
There you go.
Rocket League, the beat 'em up revival of
There you
Teenage
go.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, the modern
Mhm.
racer of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So,
Yep.
like, literally, while Julie was talking, and if I, of course, I know games, so, but I was putting that in aspects of, well, geez, I don't know. I'm 47,
Yeah.
I'm almost 50. The last game I played was Pac-Man. You can go to your AI, and yes, we know AI
Yep.
is very loosely based, so you take it with a grain of salt. But this gives you an idea. And while she was talking in under 5 minutes, it said, "Look at these games.
Yeah.
Take these games out." You could even ask, "Okay, well, what's the ESRB, the rating?" So you
Yeah.
make sure that
Yes.
these are the games that I listed. Aside from, we're not talking about Roblox, are E to E10. But think about
Yep.
what I just did in that past a
Yep.
minute to 30 seconds, what we just talked about. And
Yep.
as a consultant, this is exactly what I would do. I would go back to the side because I know as educators, they may not have time to do this, but I'm
Mhm.
going to take these games. I'm going to research, like, hey, let's take a look at this. Let's look at the
Yeah.
standards that align with this. Now, I didn't ask for standards, but like I said, literally on the fly, Julie, as you were talking, I'm like, okay, what
Right.
games are
Yeah.
related? Boom, 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 boom. And
Yeah.
it was like, wow.
And as you were talking there too, something that came to mind is like a game that will teach all kinds of science and math and technical pieces is Human Fall Flat. Like
Ooh,
that is an amazing game for, strategy, teamwork, collaboration, a lot of soft skills, but also, right, like you have to push buttons at the same time, or somebody has to jump on one to flip somebody else up. And, and there's a lot of, strategic planning involved. So that's a really, and, a rated E game, and something very simple for a teacher to understand, right?
right.
There's not a lot of other activity going on, within the game. It's just the objective, the next, how to get through the next puzzle. And super easy game, and kids love it. Like it's I mean, it's two-dimensional kind of almost, right? Like it's just
That's
so
awesome.
simple. But it's a great way to get started. But yes, absolutely, bringing in AI, right? And when they ask a question and I don't have the answer, right, or I don't know, like I'm like, well, if we want to customize this to you, then let's use your AI, right? Because you're
Mm,
hopefully you've developed, a persona within AI. I hope educators have done or are doing that, right? To be able to create, you know, um, hopefully more than just one, right? Like I have a couple different ones. I think we were talking about this before, right? That one is for education use, one is for personal use, and then
yep.
I have one that like I'm a 5-year-old, teach me like I'm a 5-year-old. I have another
I
one that's
need to
like teach
do
me like I'm an
that.
85-year-old, right? Like so if I were going to teach my grandma, because the terminology is going to be a little bit different, right? Or what you might use for someone who's 85 as opposed to someone who's 5, right? Because the technology of an 85-year-old didn't exist like it does for a 5-year-old. So you do a couple of different ones to be able to curate and get different responses that fit you as a person.
You
And
just
I
gave
think
me an
that's
idea
important
of
too.
creating a gym or a chat bot. Like, oh my
There you
God,
go.
that is such a smart idea. Teach me like I'm 5, teach me like I'm
Yes.
85.
Yeah. The other one that actually a friend of mine taught me was whatever it is that, like, if you want medical advice or you want, like very technical, maybe it's coding or, cybersecurity type, maybe things that where you wouldn't understand, but medical in particular,
Mhm.
put in there, you want to put it in like, I am a medical student who is studying for my exams, like give me the medical, response for this question, right? Like
Mhm.
understanding a certain, I don't know, diagnosis or something like that, right? Now give me the same answer as if I were an 85-year-old woman who needs in normal terms, right? So then you can also get like technical answers
Yeah,
and the common language, and then you can put them together. So, like when a doctor or somebody, or if it's cybersecurity, like because I do that with cybersecurity in Minecraft, right? So, there's Minecraft
mm,
has cybersecurity lessons that are super fun and engaging, but then you take the real world cybersecurity and you overlap them, and now cybersecurity makes sense to kids because you've
got
got the
you.
fun little ciphers within Minecraft overlapped with what a real cipher is for cybersecurity, right? So the same thing, like you need to be able to train your AI to give you the answers, right? That you need so
Right.
that you can be most informed. So the same thing for games, right? Like you could say,
Mhm.
"Hey, I'm a 5-year-old, or I'm a 10-year-old if you're a 5th grade teacher, we'll say, I'm a 10-year-old and need to teach a lesson on I'll go back to fractions, right? And give me a game now that will help me to teach that, right?
Mhm.
Um, or that utilize what the tools that you have, right? And make it
Yeah,
fun, or ask your kids to do the same thing, you know and then you're all learning together. And that honestly, and when you learn together and you learn with your kids and your kids can teach you, like they love that,
it's
like,
amazing. It's amazing.
right,
Yeah,
the
and
connection you'll have will
yeah,
skyrocket.
and let's remember using that it's a jump start. It's not the end all be all. I want to
Yes.
make that
No.
clear. It's a jump
Yeah.
start to get you to research and look at other avenues, but just to get your
Yeah.
brainstorming and ideas going, it's perfect for what we're talking about. So I just want to make that
Hmm.
transparent to
Yes.
everybody. Like it's a jump
Absolutely.
start for brainstorming, but
Right.
it's a great way. And speaking of that,
Yeah.
so you're leading into my next question about designing because you're talking about that design question, the design
Yeah.
process.
Right.
When you're designing gaming and esports curriculum, what core skills or learning outcomes do you help the teachers focus on?
So it depends on the teacher. We'll start with high school. For example, like I had mentioned before, like I'm working in the AME pathway, right? Um, I worked with a video production teacher. He also taught cinematography. He was the esports coach at his school. But I said, his name was Kevin. I said, Kevin, give me your curriculum and let me esportify it, right? Let me take what I know and broadcasting and streaming
I
and for
love you say
production and all that,
esportify
right?
it.
And I'll give your curriculum back to you. And I did, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not having to change anything." And I'm like, "No, You just have to change, instead of broadcasting for TV purposes, you're broadcasting for stream. Instead of doing the interviews like a traditional interview, like if you were, asking questions, you're of an expert at something, you're interviewing the coaches, the players, the parents, right? And then cutting that video, right? The video cutting is the same. It's just a different genre that you're doing it within.
Right.
Same with marketing and graphic design, right? Like, so they were creating, logos. And I'm like, well, how about if you have your students do a competition within your class for your team's logo, right? This was another teacher at another site.
Mhm, mhm.
Awesome, right? And so they did. They all competed, and the class voted. He created a rubric, and the class voted on what their logo for their jerseys were going to be, or their t-shirts that year.
Mm.
So the kids aren't changing anything. So in high school, that's what I try to do. Same with the marketing, because they're doing social media, they're doing print marketing, they're doing website design type marketing, or whatnot, creating portfolios. I'm like, have them can we do a semester or a quarter on the esports team? Yeah,
Right.
awesome. Let's do it, right? So when you come back down to the younger kids, it's prepping them. I always like to, align everything, right? So if the goal is, we want to be have them developing, you know, semi-professional assets for the high school team, or getting internships. That was part of what I tried to help them do as well. Then in middle school we need to lay that foundation for what they're going to learn, right? So it's
Right.
it's it's concepts and doing some of the same things, because middle schools have teams too, right? And creating those for them, but it usually isn't a graphic design course. It's more of a multimedia, so you touch on a lot of different things. And then I would play to that teacher's strength, right? So if you're a multimedia teacher but you do more in graphic design, or you're more into marketing and design side, then focus it that way. But if you're more of a computer science person, then maybe you go into game design as far as the coding back end and helping them look at that portion. Or if it's video, then go video, right? Because it's usually right, at least in our district here in Fresno, it they don't really they don't hone into those specific course titles till high school, right? But
Mhm.
then you back play it down into elementary, right? Where we have, you have your classes. Like for Fresno, they used Microsoft products, so Teams as opposed to Google Meet or whatever, right?
Right. Right.
Was the platform. So we'll have the kids stream what they're doing on, or the couple of teachers that I worked with were esports, elementary esports coaches and teachers. I'm like, well, have them stream to the other fifth grade classes, right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys can do a stream in Teams because it's safe, right? Nobody else
Yep.
can get in there, whatever.
Absolutely.
It's all local. Or have them too create, like, they could draw out the logos, right?
Mhm,
If you
mhm.
don't have if you're working with Chromebooks and you don't have devices to be able to, um, work with imaging software and whatnot, like, we'll just have them draw them, have them create them from a drawing. And then there are tools, of course, that you can use to take those drawings and actually make them into, right, the t-shirts and whatnot. And or in one particular case, they gave them to then the middle school, and the middle school, worked to help design them with their multimedia class, which is then now
Yeah.
you're connecting, those pathways. So um yeah, so as far as that goes, right, is connecting the teachers to what they're already teaching, I think,
Yes.
because those are, especially in high school, they're already standard aligned, right? And then it's just there may be a few tweaks in what you have to do with the curriculum, but for the most part, they're already designed. And if they want something brand new, right, then it's, in California, we have a platform called Doorways for all CTE teachers. And like
Okay.
every class that's a CTE class is in Doorways. Well, just you can go into Doorways and pull any course, right?
Mm.
And then you can pull out pieces like, 6 weeks of this lesson, 6 weeks of this lesson,
Okay.
right? There are resources, right, that you can use. The point is, you don't have to recreate the wheel, right?
Right.
It's and there are partners, there are people, there are, other teachers, other districts, your ed tech coaches, right? They want to help you. That's what they're there for. Your curriculum instruction people. They
Yeah.
want to make it exciting.
And I like the way when we personally talked about it, like we want to be here to help you get that off your plate because we know that at this point,
Yes.
you are hardcore teaching,
Yep.
and so what we'll say is, well, what are you teaching in the next 5 weeks? Let me just see it, and let me just model something for you. Not go in the class
Yep.
model. Let me show you what you can't. Let me show you what you can do, so you can have an insight.
Yeah.
So, and then you can tweak because I just want you to be able to go in and tweak and align it, and get the red pen, scratch out what works, what doesn't work,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that takes a burden off their back because I think they feel like some
Yes.
feel like, oh my god, I gotta reinvent the wheel. Like you said, reinvent the wheel. You don't have to
Mm-mm.
do that.
No.
And what I've learned also, going back into this part-time teaching world, like learning, like
Mhm.
um, there's so many tools now that are so easily accessible for kids to use. Like
Yeah.
it's been amazing. Like, I mean, of course, we use it all the time. Like, I'll bust out a Canva or a CapCut, like nobody's business. But like now,
Right.
I mean, just think about what that was like, even like 10 years ago. Like, I know Canva was still there and all that kind of stuff, but like, just so many little apps now are just so easily accessible. You want to create a podcast tomorrow? Here's an app to go do that, or you can literally go on your phone and just do it and just post it somewhere. Like, there's
Yeah.
so many little things, and I think that's where we get bogged down. Is because we
Yes.
feel like it's gotta look like this, I'm so guilty of that. It's gotta look like this flawless
Yeah.
presentation, but what we gotta realize is I know, like what we're talking about this. This is your opportunity now to play and figure
Yes.
out what works, what doesn't. Okay, now everybody has access to like an Adobe Express or a Canva
Yeah.
or this.
Yeah.
Now we've we've taken it down a little bit to where tools like that used to be very complicated and the industry leaders were using that, but
Yeah.
that was gatekeeping
Yeah.
to a point, and we want other people to use, it, especially now since social media is out there. You're only as good as your last post or as your last
Right.
content.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how can I make this faster? And now everything, for the most part, is in people's hands, and so I definitely do like that approach with what you're talking about. Like, let's not totally like scratch off everything that you're doing,
Right.
but let's just
Right.
enhance it. Let's see what works.
Yes.
Let's talk about what works and what doesn't work. Like, obviously the best time to do this is in towards the end of the year where we want to develop something, but like, let's
Yeah.
just take a lesson, not a
Yes.
unit, a
Yes. A
lesson,
less. Sure.
and touch on it and see what you think. Bring your
Yeah.
bring your other teachers in. Let's have a PLC type of a moment and just
Yeah.
let's tear it apart, pick it apart, and see what works. And I think that's the beauty of being in this consulting space because we want to make you
Yeah.
feel very comfortable. We understand that this is your space and
Yep.
that these are your lessons. You may have taught it for
Yep.
2 years or 20 years or 2 days,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
we still
Yep.
want to make you feel comfortable. Um,
Can I share one other thing on that too? Well,
yeah,
actually
go
2
ahead.
things.
Go ahead.
One, I was gonna say that also bring in so, like, myself as a consultant, if you reach out and you're like, "Hey, I'd like to have you come talk to my class for a period or for 20 minutes." I'm not gonna
Mm,
charge you to come do that,
okay.
right? So, if you don't have somebody in your district who, can connect what you're doing to gaming or game-based learning or esports, right? Like, reach out, right? Like, and having an expert or somebody, and not it's not just consultants, right? Like, again, like, I work with a ton of different partners. I'm happy to connect you with the partners too, who would be happy to come in and do a guest spot speaking thing, right? On
Right.
whatever it is that you want to talk about, or want them to talk about. Because then, one, especially in high school, you're supposed to have so many, industry experts within a CTE course, right? Not
Okay.
not every
Yeah.
teacher, but for CTE courses, right? You're supposed to have industry experts engaging with your students. Great, have them come talk to them. You'll probably get an idea or two from them of what you can do. If you choose to engage then with that consultant, great. If you come up with your own ideas, great. At least as far as I'm concerned, right? The other
Mm-hmm.
thing too is you mentioned Canva, right? And I don't know that all educators know that Canva is free to all educators. Canva Pro is free to all educators, and you can easily connect it to ChatGPT, to Claude, to
Mm-hmm.
Google Drive. Like it's an amazing tool, right? To be able to take content from a Google Doc and hey,
Transform it.
I want this to be become a presentation on esports and gaming in Canva. It will give you the templates and help you put those things together, right? So it's again, sometimes it's not so much, I don't so much consult on the technical pieces. It's more of like, let's
Right.
let's 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 talk. Let's get ideas flowing. And what do you use? What don't you use? And how can we make your job easier, right? And yes, if you want us to create stuff, sure, we can do that. But I like to empower teachers to take what they have and learn, especially AI tools like you were
Yeah.
mentioning, to be able to make their jobs even lighter.
Yeah, because I don't want, yeah, like you, I don't want them to feel like you're doing something extra. Let me do that
Yes,
extra for you because
yes,
you already
yes,
have something on your plate. Now, whether we charge or not, that's another conversation.
right,
But
right,
you are already in the mix. You are already doing the most, which is impacting kids and making that change in the classroom. Right
right.
now, our job is really to help you increase that impact, increase that conversation,
Yes,
and making sure that you're staying connected to your the teachers and students as much as possible. We want to help in any way we can. We've been in this, not to say me and Julie, but others too. We've been in this for so many years,
yeah,
and we know that where the highs are and the lows are, and where the successes are too. And even though we may have not sat in the classroom for quite a few years, our
right.
we still our goal is to still keep that pulse. So
Yes,
when we go in and talk to you, we want to ask questions like, okay, so tell me what's going on. I only know, let's say, X amount of years in the space from when I was in the classroom. So I don't want to turn in and say, well, when I did it, it's like this, and you got to do it like this. I want to hear you first. I want to
yes,
hear your
yep,
successes. I want to hear your pain points. I may put a little influence in there, but I want to hear like what's really going on with you. Like for me personally, Julie, I'm like, all right, cameras off, keep it real. Fuss, cuss, success, whatever. Tell me what's going on. I'll try to connect it to as much as I can, but with me and you in my space, I want you to feel comfortable.
yes,
I want you to feel that out of this meeting, out of this consulting that we're having, that it's successful. We all
yeah,
know that like gaming and esports for us in our space, it's easy.
yeah,
Quote easy. But for some people, like I don't I don't know where the hell to start. Like, and I don't mind about not being the expert or the expert. I just don't know where to go. And I'm like,
right,
okay, shut it down. Let's talk. Where are you happy? Where are you frustrated? Let's
yeah,
just start with a day one, an
yeah,
hour one, a minute one. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about keeping up with that nice techie person that's over there or your kids over there.
right,
Let's get you comfortable in your own skin in that space.
yes,
And when they say that, they go, "Oh, okay,
yeah, yeah,
I'm good. I'm good."
yeah. And what you design or what your classroom looks like does not have to look like with the next door or the next district or the next state, right? I always tell teachers, one, you, right? And you know your strengths and weaknesses, you know your students, and you know what they're struggling with. And every population and every teacher students combination is different. So it's not going to look exactly the same, and it shouldn't, right? It needs to fit you and your kids.
Yep.
And when it's authentic, and we've mentioned that word I think a couple of different times, when it's authentic and real, the kids are going to enjoy it, and so are you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
What when you're consulting with teachers and districts, what are the most common misconceptions you have helped them understand or unlearn when it comes to games and instruction?
The number one thing is that it's just more brain rotting screen time. We're just going to be on screens. We don't want kids on screens. I'm like, okay, but the future is going to be on a screen. right? And kids need to learn how to use it effectively, right? A common misconception, another one is that, well, it's gaming. No, esports is not just gaming. Game based learning is not just gaming. Gaming is when you hop on at home, your PC, your Xbox, your PlayStation, you jump onto an online forum. That's what most kids do.
Mhm.
Um, and if it's not with their friends, they don't know who they're playing with.
Right.
They don't know if they're male, female, 15, 90, or anywhere in between, right? They don't know anything about the people. In game-based learning and esports, you are in a classroom, you're with a coach or a teacher, you're with your fellow classmates, right? You know who
Structured.
you're in there. It's structured. There's, a mentor, an adult, overseeing and moving the group forward. Um, and it's purposeful.
Yes.
Uh, it it's learning, learning may not be a subject, but it's learning communication, it's learning teamwork, it's learning collaboration, creativity, strategic planning, or critical thinking. I mean, it's all the social skills that, in my opinion, I'm going to go back to COVID, went out the window.
Ooh.
And so
Yeah.
now we have the opportunity, to use what kids are interested in to help them learn the all the standards, all the skills, all the, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
subjects they need to learn. Those are the two biggest ones. And if it's an esports team, it's like, okay, well, and I get the same from parents. And I'll just say, okay, well, let's do this. You grab three adults, and I'll grab three kids, and we'll have them play each other in Rocket League.
Okay.
I 100% guarantee you the kids, even if they don't know each other, will talk to each other about competing, and adults will sit there and not talk to each other. Every single time I do it,
Yeah.
that's what happens. Because unless they're esports or gaming, let me, adults like coaches and whatnot. But if you bring in, like, let's just say a teacher, a principal, and a para that don't know each other, they're not going to talk to each other. You bring in three students that don't know each other, they will communicate because, one, they know from playing at home that's what you have to do in order to win, right? Because they've
That's a
learned it.
fabulous case study that I would love to do. Like,
Yeah.
even if they don't know, particularly the Rocket League game, like,
Yep.
what happens when you put three adults in the room and
Yep.
three other ones, and they don't know the game at all? Like, and I want to even go even further to like, oh, well, they're just young, they're tech savvy. Nope, nope. It
Nope.
has nothing to do with being young and tech savvy
Nope.
because I'm 47 and
Yep.
I've been in this space a long time, and there are some things that I still don't know in the tech space that
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
still learning. I
Yeah.
can like literally y'all like literally like I struggled with getting on this stream and we had to fix things. So I had to
Yeah.
learn and unlearn some things.
Yep.
So I would love to do a case study like that. There goes my graduate hat
There
on.
you go.
But like
That's fun. Yeah.
putting that in front of them and saying like, okay, what do you think? I'm just gonna throw a game out there and they're gonna play it. Even if
Oh,
they go ahead, go ahead.
I would say one that's really great is Super Smash Bros, right? Because even if you don't know
Mhm.
how to play Super Smash Bros, you know enough that you just have to smash a bunch of buttons, right?
Yes.
Um, and adults, like, I'm terrible at it. I don't and the older we get, the less manual dexterity we have, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
have a little bit of arthritis going in the thumbs from playing for so long when I was younger, but, like, you can maneuver enough, right? So if you take 2 kids that don't know, Super Smash Bros very well, but they've played, or adults, the same thing. Like, most adults know what Super Smash Bros is, right? Or even Mario Kart, but that's a little, I would stick with Super Smash Bros. You'll see, right? The kids will talk. They will talk to each other because they know that's what they have to do. They're used to it, right? But the adults usually, like, especially our generation, right? Like,
They're
oh no,
waiting for
I've
the
got to
rules. They're waiting for
I've
this.
got to figure this out on my own, right? Like, oh nope, put my head down. I'm going to dig in. I got to understand it. No, no. All you got to do is talk to each other
No,
and decide how you're going to work together to defeat the other team,
the other
right?
team.
Mhm.
Like what they'll
It's
say,
it
like, wait, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it doesn't matter. These kids don't know what they're doing either.
Nope.
And you
Yep.
got 10 minutes. Go.
Yep.
How did
Yep.
that
And
make
it's
you?
those are the main honestly. It's that, and again, I'll go back to the mindset shift of you don't need to be the expert in the room when it comes to game-based learning. The kids can and will find a game or an answer within a game to articulate what it is you're asking them, right? When it comes to, a subject matter, and again, specifically like with math and science, in particular, like they'll find, or even history, right? Like, teachers, I've known teachers who've used, um, God of War and Assassin's Creed and
Amazing.
Call of Duty, right, to teach history lessons, right, or different, concepts of historical events, right? Um, I'm not saying that you go and teach Call of Duty within, but you can. Um, and when you connect it to just the video game component of it, your mind, your hopefully your mindset will shift, that you don't have to be the expert, that kids will actually do the work necessary to learn the subject matter if you relate it to something that they are engaged in already.
And I think that shift is happening now. I mean, I know there's a
Mm.
lot of veterans out there that like are maybe still struggling with that, but I think because of AI, I'm not gonna put that on the pedestal, but because of how emerging tech is shifting so fast and so quick, everybody is learning. We're all in this
Yeah,
learning journey together. It's from students to
yeah,
educators to the young folks to the older folks. We're all in this like, well, what is this? What does this look like as a student? What does this look like in the workforce? Which is what I'm definitely super fascinated with. And you even brought up the point where like uh, kids are on too much screen time, and I'm like, okay, let's take that step back. What do you have on your wall right there? You have a big old monitor that's a screen. That's a screen that you're
yeah,
teaching off of.
yep,
You
yep.
have Chromebooks or laptops that the kids are teaching off of.
Oh yeah,
Aren't you grading off of a laptop to get grades in? Like it's screens everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
So like let's take that step back. I'm not judging what you're saying, but like okay, your watch is a screen. Everything right now is a
yeah,
screen.
yep,
So when we put video games under that, it's too much screen time. Like, well, wait a minute. Everywhere
yep,
we go, we're on a screen. Even billboards are a screen now. Like
right,
everything is a screen, 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 screen. You go on home watching Netflix, you're on a screen. Like you can't get away from it unless you decide I'm gonna open up a book and read it.
right,
So like let's take a step back and
yep,
really assess what what we're trying to do here, which is what I think we're now understanding. We're at this point where like I'm just really want to learn, and I really am concerned about our digital well being and how
yeah,
and what that looks like. And
yeah,
when you figure that out, you go, oh, okay, that's really what this is.
yeah,
So for my last question, this has been great. Now, see, now you all are getting into our heads and understanding like where we are from this consulting and strategist standpoint.
yeah,
But speaking about that, like, how do you diagnose whether an organization or a district or an educator is actually ready to start implementing esports or gaming lessons or curriculum or whatever it is into the classroom? How do you really know that they're ready? Aside from like your
yeah.
big wigs, know like, hey, I'm more open minded and ready. How do you know that they're ready?
I mean, my answer to everybody is you are ready, whether you think you are or not, right?
Oh,
Because my approach is to meet with them and really assess what they know, what they don't know, right? Like more so what they know, where they want to go,
okay,
what their program or their classroom goals are, and what they want from the student outcomes, right? When I ask the program goals or classroom goals and student outcomes, a lot of times I'll get I don't know, right? Not so much teacher classroom goals, but like if it's esports and program goals, they're like you mentioned before, I don't even know where or how to start, right? Okay, again, it's a series of questions of understanding. Okay, you have an interest in deploying some type of game-based learning or esports or gaming content. There's an interest there.
Mhm.
Where how what does it look like to you? If we start today, what does it look like in 3 months? What does it look like in 6 months? What does it look like in a year? Is it a matter of getting you up to speed, or is it a matter of, like, do you want to take the approach of students leading you and you learning from students, or do you
Mhm.
want me to try to get you to a point where you feel like you can provide the education, the instruction, sorry, that you need to give to your students, then that's outside of like your day, which I never try to do that. I try to say, where are you? What do you know? What tools do you have? What are the tools in your tool belts around esports gaming, game-based learning, right? And even if it's Pac-Man, and I haven't played since I played Pac-Man in the 80s, great. Okay, have you watched any video game movies, right?
Ooh.
Have you engaged on YouTube like we mentioned before? What is your knowledge base like? And do you have these conversations with your kids? There's usually some touch point, right? Or multiple touch points. And then I try to, get them, I encourage them to survey. I always say, survey your kids. What are they into? Right? And there's usually, not always, but usually some type of connection there, right? Because if they're interested, somebody somewhere, if they're coming to me, right, somebody somewhere, whether it's a student, a district, a friend, their own child, whatever,
Mhm. Mhm.
has made some kind of suggestion or comment that has sparked their interest, right?
Mhm.
um, so there's a desire at least to kind of like explore it. They're open to it's the ones when you come with the district and the district's like, hey, we're going to do this. And then there you have the one teacher or two that's like, no, I'm not. Right. Kind of a thing. Those are the ones I'm like, you know what? You might need to punt on those teachers. Right. Like if they're, if they're going to push back on it too much, let them observe other
Let
teachers
them
in there.
observe.
Right. um, and go from there. Most of the time I start with, well, what are you interested in? Like, is a particular game, or is it a particular set of games? And I know enough people within the industry that I can say, hey, I know someone who's a content creator. I know someone who's a marketer. I know somebody who is, a collegiate player or a coach or a former professional coach, or,
Yeah.
like, let's get them in front of your kids and in your class, and you can ask questions, your kids can ask questions, because then the wheels start rolling, right? and
Mhm.
they and they it starts percolating. So it really is assessing what that particular teacher or group is looking for, and then kind of curating it to them, because I don't believe that one size fits all at all, ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um and so every training, every, I want to say workshop, every consulting gig that I do looks a little bit different
Yeah.
because the population's different.
Absolutely.
Um, and I think that's important. I don't think you can do, hey, here's our curriculum on esports.
And that's all I'm
Go.
gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it doesn't fit perfectly, at what everybody needs. And
And you know what,
that's
Julie? And I,
that's
I
what I
think
look
that's the
for.
beauty of us and our experience because I actually love talking to the know people
Mm,
because I'm like, okay, let's close. I've said it tons of times in this stream. Let's close the door. What's your honest truth? I'm not here to sell you on it. I'm not here to
yeah.
sell you on it.
Yep.
I just want to hear like this is your time to rant, fuss, cuss, do whatever you want. I'm not gonna tweet it out. I'm not gonna share it out. I just want to hear. I just want to
Right.
hear you, and then I want to share my perspective. Let's talk through some things, and I love it because after I give that PDR workshop, they go, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yep.
like oh,
Yep.
if you just do for like 5 minutes and it doesn't interrupt you, like whatever it is, as that he or she is talking, uh, of course I will have my base already ready to go, but I'm ready to pivot and change when they say it's this or I just don't have time. Like, okay, well, let me just show you some things. I don't care if you don't want to use it. I don't care if you say, Bradford, get the F out of here, whatever. But let,
Yep.
let's let, let's talk it through because you and I we have been through it. We've been through those highs and lows. So like, I
Yep.
typically know who are my no people, who are my
Yep.
yes people, and so uh I will say like I've been in your shoes. I understand where you're coming from. And so here's some things that I kind of wanted to show you just to get you some ideas. And I do have some videos on it myself to where I've had a person say, you know what, I've never looked at it that way until
Yeah.
you've shown it to me.
Yep.
Uh, do I want to go all the way like that? Probably not, but at least I'm a little bit more open. And that's all I'm looking for is to
Yeah.
for people to be more open. Now, I am gonna also say this too. I'm not gonna get on the soapbox of where people stand on this or not. So I'm not gonna go there. But I will say, like, I I'm gonna tell people right now, watch the esports awards or the gaming awards that just passed.
Yeah.
It is 4 hours, so I don't sit for 4 hours and watch it. I still have like my thing like, ooh, that's I don't watch the Oscars like that. But I'm watching it in chunks. And for those of you who really want to understand a little bit of the industry, not the political side of it or anything like that, let's get that out the way. But really understanding what how everybody is involved in that space. We're talking
Yes.
from literacy to
Yeah.
jobs to movies. The last thing I watched was they were showing the Street Fighter cast come in,
Oh, yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like, "Ooh, that's really cool." And hashtag to Jason Momoa, that boy's gonna be busy. Um, but but this showing just all the nuance. Not that actually wasn't the last thing I saw. It was some young lady about the video game that she's creating, and
Mhm.
another young lady. I think you like this. I mean, you probably have seen it to where like she is in this game development step, and I don't think she wanted to be in that space, but she just fell into it, and because of that, she got scholarships, and she's I don't want to misinterpret what school she's at, but let's say she went to Yale for this because was involved in this, and they took time to highlight that. So they're high is for that particular stream, and I'll put it in the notes. Like you see, this is their time to highlight why the industry is so important. And yes, there
Right.
is toxicity into it. And yes, there's drama, and we can talk about that all day long. But I really look at it from that standpoint. Watch it in chunks. I'm sure there's highlights there too that I can find. But for you to understand what this space looks like and get an inkling, I say look at that.
Yeah.
Julie, any parting words when it comes to being in this space and wanting to consult and designing curriculum?
Yeah, if it's a desire that you have, like do I mean, try it. Try it if you're in a district, ask a current teacher like to offer their curriculum and then you create the game-based learning content for them. Or like I did, you esportify, a
I
video
love that.
production course or graphic design or marketing or business and entrepreneurship or finance or I mean, you name it, right? Like it can cross I worked with in Fresno Unified, I worked with our athletic training team, right? Like, hey, your team has a esports team. Your school has an esports team. Like, they need some help with exercises and like how to position, body position and just health and wellness. Like so it any any subject. Easiest ones are within the arts, media and entertainment CTE pathway, just or your computer science teachers. But work with what they are that is in your district, right? And just give it a shot. And if you find that you like it, like, then most I would say if you're a teacher, it might be a little more difficult, but, like, if you're in a district position, um, just reach out to other people, right, that are doing something similar or, within game-based learning, create a lesson in game class, right? Like, I
Oh
would say
yeah.
that's an easy way to try, and if you're a teacher, to be able to do it, to utilize a lesson that's already on game class, as a teaching tool within your class. There are resources out there. But give it a shot in the position that you're in, right? And see how it goes and how you like it. And if you like it, you reiterate, right? And do it again and again and again. And then, if you've done it a few times and you're questioning whether you can step out and do it, again, I would say ask those closest to you, and if you don't have a mentor, find one, and somebody that's going to speak the truth to you, um, the hard truth, right,
The
in good
hard
and bad
truth.
ways, and run it by them. Um, I would say, don't just give up your job if you're not confident. Like, don't just step out, and do it
Baby
without
steps.
baby steps. Yes, yes. And connect with other people. Networking is really, really important. Whether that's attending conferences or webinars and asking questions. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Start there and connect with other people that are doing things that are similar and in the esports and gaming and game-based learning environment. um, and just you got to test the waters, and then just try where you are, and test it out and see what it looks like. I think you'll
I
be
love it.
surprised too. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Julie, where can people get in touch with you and connect with you?
Yeah. So I primarily spend most of my time in social media on LinkedIn. I'm not a big, Instagram or Facebook or X person. That's just not my
Not your
realm.
bag.
But LinkedIn, yes. I'm Julie Mavro on LinkedIn. I am at JDogMav, which is my consulting business's name. That's my gamer tag. It's a longer story, but so on the other platforms, I'm at JDogMav, and my email is the same at jdogmav@gmail. So, but yes, they feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have conversations with people and answer questions, connect you with others. If you're looking for, guest speakers for a classroom, or help with content, feel free to reach out. And yeah,
And I will
and at
definitely.
conferences.
Oh yeah.
I'll be at a lot of conferences this year, so
She's
if
got 'em.
you're
She's
at
got
an
'em. She's
an
got
ed
'em.
tech, yeah, if you're at an ed tech conference, look me up in the schedule. There's likelihood, especially here in California, and then the big ones like FETC, TCEA, ISTE. I'll be at those, so
Awesome.
happy to
Awesome.
connect with you at those. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely make sure that those are in the show notes when I update all of my good game reruns because there's some editing and stuff that I have to
Oh
do.
yeah, I'm sure.
It's all live. Everybody can see this all live, but I'm going to be doing some cleanup. So, Julie, thank you so much for coming back
Yeah.
and doing this. And this is it for my good game rewind. I will be doing this again definitely next year, updating it. And you guys, I hope you learned a lot. I learned a lot from Julie this weekend. I learned a lot from everybody else. So I just want to thank everybody for those who are listening or those who are looking at this on demand for being supportive. And you can follow me. Just go to tickertechedu.com. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. And I'm on probably every platform known to man, just to meet everybody where they're at. So make sure you just go there. You can click on any of the buttons, and I will be there. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you all next time. Take care. It's Bradford Harris, also known as EdTech Tinker across your social media channels. Thanks for tuning in and staying connected. Whether you're here for the first time or returning, welcome. I'm passionate about digital learning, STEM, esports, gaming, and emerging technology. And I'm here to help you make an impact using digital tools and future-ready strategies. Through my work with TinkerTech EDU, I help educators, professionals, and organizations design engaging learning experiences, build career pathways, and scale innovation. From instructional design and online course development to digital fluency workshops and career branding services, I've got you covered. Do you need help with your resume, social or website profiles, or launching a course? Want to level up your skills or your team's tech strategy? Let's talk. You can quickly explore all my services and connect with me easily at linkapp.com/edtechtinker. Whether it's Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, or my official site at tickertechedu.com, I'm just a click away. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay in the loop with live streams, on-demand content, and the latest updates. Turn on your notifications so you never miss what's happening in the world of digital learning and emerging technology.
I go live at least twice a month, bringing you fresh, tailored content every time, from gaming and education to tech tool tutorials to professional growth strategies. Did you miss a stream? No worries. You can catch the highlight reels and full replays anytime on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/@edtechtinker. And hey, you got a question, you want to collaborate, or are looking for presentations, consulting, or professional development sessions, virtual or in person? Just reach out. Let's connect and create something meaningful starting today. Thanks again for being part of this journey, and I'll see you next time.